Hi lovelies, welcome back to this channel. If you're new here, my name is Belinda's channel. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Don't forget to please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications so that anytime I upload a video, you will be the first person to be notified. And to my returning subscribers, thank you so much for all the love and support. To those people that share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate you guys are the real MVP. Thank you so much for all the love and support. Alright lovelies, let's dive into this video. So lovelies, I came across this video on my For You page on TikTok, and I thought to share with you guys where it is said that black people actually went through slavery because of the disobedient. Like they actually disobeyed God, and this actually got a lot of people, reacting. People have to make some research based on biblical facts. I'm just gonna reel the clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thoughts in the comment section.
Probably all agree like slavery is bad, right? Well, how come God in the Bible is okay with it? Leviticus 25:44. God told his people they can get slaves. The point being, though, if you're saying slavery is bad, yeah, but maybe what if God says it's okay? Then, well, now we don't even know. Now maybe slavery is okay in some context. Your morality, hold on, wait. Because it's harming other people and you're taking away people's free will. You're taking away people's rights and their autonomy.
Why is that bad?
Because you can't own
another human being and having a long
but if you don't believe in religion or right and wrong, it's like, why is it bad?
Because it leads to a literal collapse on society, and then even if you have nothing but selfishness, even if you have nothing but selfishness, I can say, I care about me, I don't want to be a slave, so I don't want to live in a world where that's a risk for me to become a slave. I can reason this purely from selfishness, and the point about slavery,
is it not?
The point that I'm getting at about slavery is that you're saying our morality must come from God, but yet God has done nothing when it comes to give us consistent morality, because now we don't even know if slavery is good or bad, because God said it was okay.
My uncle said slavery happened because black people turned their backs on God. How do I respond to that? Say, Unc, how can I believe in that silver back in the sky if he's down up there watching us suffer? He watched slavery happen. He watches rape happen. I've had things happen to me, and I just can't believe that somebody that has all of these powers, all seeing eye, bitch ass motherfucker up there watching it happen and not doing anything, and I'm supposed to want to be in his kingdom. I want to access to his kingdom. No, thank you. Die. I told you, me and Lucy, who was like, fuck this shit, God, I don't fuck with you. Me and Lucy got more in common. I'm ready to see him, whatever creatures he got, because me and Dracula, we like this. And I was kind of like this with the creatures, with whatever ones he released on them people on motherfucking Wisteria Lane. But anyway, his answer was that black people turned their back on God, so this is God's punishment. How am I supposed to ever take any of you motherfuckers seriously? Have you ever realized that when white people interpret religion or pick up the Bible, a cult is started? Look at the Democrats and Republicans. Look at the Catholics. And then they take the fucking religion and justify their nefarious fucking acts. Like a genocide. They'd be like, well, actually in the Bible. You'd be like, what about hunger? They'd be like, well, free will. You'd be like, hey, slavery. They'd be like, well, Job actually. You'd be like, wait a minute. Why do y'all always have an excuse? Like, why do y'all take and use religion to justify murder, schmedophilia, grape, slavery? Oh, you see how crazy that sounds? And then another thing too is that most religions that you come across, at least the ones that I have come across, have multiple gods. Those are the ones I kind of fuck with, right? Because it makes sense that it will be multiple gods running this shit. It's a white man's interpretation to believe that it's only one, and it's a man. But then again, white men are known for causing fucking issues and turning around and pointing at the person that they victimized and blaming them. If y'all do, y'all be like, oh, well, you know what? The reason why God has got you out here as a slave is because you turned your back on him. Shame on you. If y'all haven't realized yet, Westerners ruin everything. By Westerners, y'all know I'm talking about them White Walkers. Being any bastards that have melanated skin love to talk about how Americans don't have culture, and I see you with your do-rags. I see you with those. Shut the fuck up.
I think a lot of people tie God's goodness into the fact that bad things will never happen. And yes, God is good, but it doesn't mean bad things won't happen. It's just in the midst of the struggle, in the midst of trials, in the midst of the storm, he is with you, and his presence is comforting, and it'll get you through it, right? And you see this being brought up a lot, especially like in the black community, where it'll be like, well, where was God during slavery? And it's like, they assume because God is good that nothing bad was going to happen. But it's like, in the midst of slavery, the presence of God comforted them. And a lot of people be like, oh, well, Christianity is a white man religion. Yes, it was pushed on you. God, in the midst of their slavery, gave them peace. He got them through it. And it's crazy because the erasure of God and the good things, even like Harriet Tubman had visions because she was a Christian, she would have visions, and those visions helped her lead slaves out of captivity. You know what I'm saying? And not even just that, like even through after slavery, how the backbone of the black community was the church. Even when you see like a lot of leaders, like a lot of the leaders in the civil rights era were pastors, specifically MLK. And you'll say, well, all these bad things are happening. Where is God and how can he be good? And it's like in the midst of all that, not only was God with them and comforted them in their struggle, but he brought them out of it too. So when you ask, is God good, or how can God be good if these things happen? Don't just think about bad things never happening, but acknowledge that in your struggle, God is there with you.
In other words, the creator of the universe wrote a book.
Yeah.
And he didn't even get it right on slavery, much less women's rights.
Actually, he did.
Much less women's rights, gay rights.
Can you give me the
any other rights?
Hey, first of all, Old Testament slavery was not race-based forced servitude. It was voluntary means of working off debt or keeping captives from mustering a rebellion. Secondly, slave trading is condemned in the Bible, both in the Old and the New Testaments. Thirdly, the Bible teaches that all men are made in the image of God. Slave and master are equally human, protected, and one in Christ. That's throughout both Old and New Testaments. Fourthly, Jesus came to set the captives free. And fifth, the Bible's main goal is spiritual redemption, not social reform. The Old Testament was not ideal. It was forward-looking to a better testament, which is the New.
My favorite, the prototypical premier talking point by atheists, is just perfection. If God said if he didn't say anything about not having slaves, then he must have been for it, right? No, people. Look at the Ten Commandments. These are the major commandments, the commands by God that we are supposed to follow. And one of my favorites is love thy neighbor as thyself. And why did he say that? It doesn't mean your next door neighbor. It doesn't mean love the person that lives to your left and the person that lives to your right, and that's it. No, what it means is love thy neighbor, neighboring town, neighboring city, neighboring state, neighboring country, neighboring employee, neighboring friend. It means love people like you love yourself. Treat everyone good. Why would he want you to treat everybody good? Well, God is the Father. He is a parent to us. We are his children. And no good parent wants any of their children to treat any of the other ones badly. Love your brothers and sisters is what he is saying, like you love yourself, which means don't have slaves.
The Bible gives instruction on how hard you can beat your slave. Oh yeah? Yep, Exodus 21:20. Anyone who beats their male or female slave with a rod must be punished if the slave dies as a direct result. But they are not punished if the slave recovers after a day or two, since the slave is their property.
Right, this is a verse that's quoted often from typically atheists who think anyone should care about their subjective morality, but a lot of Christians struggle with this passage as well.
Yeah, it's pretty brutal.
So first of all, these slaves were indentured servants, meaning they served masters to pay off debts. This wasn't pre-Civil War African-American slavery where people were kidnapped and abused. This was the beginning of God bringing the Hebrews out of a barbaric state into a new way he was carving forward for them and ultimately the world.
Okay.
So if you go to verse 26 and 27 of that same chapter, it says that if a master hits a servant and damages an eye or chips a tooth, the master had to let the servant go free. Their contract was broken. Weird, isn't it? It's almost as if God was saying, don't abuse your servants because they're humans too. In fact, God repeatedly says to the Hebrews in various verses, you know what it was like to be a slave, so treat others like this. Fill in the blank.
Really?
Yeah. So back to the chapter, we see here God punished abusers by setting their servants free. This was a huge cost to them.
Right.
But if we go back to the verse you quoted, when it says, if they survive after a day or two, the master won't be punished, the word punished in Hebrew is the word nakam, which is specifically used regarding the death penalty. So no, if a servant was beaten and not killed, the master wasn't given the death penalty. But we know from verses 26 and 27 that abuse results in financial punishment. The servants were set free.
Interesting.
So no, this isn't giving instruction on how much they could abuse their servants. In fact, read it again. If they didn't recover after a day or two, what would it mean if they didn't recover after a day or two? What if it took 3 days, 4 days, or even a week?
Well, according to the passage, the master would have been punished in that case.
Exactly, and that punishment would have been death for the master.
Slaves were a name used for workers back a couple thousand years ago. This verse teaches us how to use the help of others to our work without harming. Leviticus explicitly condones chattel slavery, which is owning other human beings as property. It was not indentured servitude or employee-to-employer relationship. It was just slavery. And in the Bible, God condones it and in fact tells them to take virgin women as prizes. I wonder how many people use this logic here to justify slavery here in America. Y'all always like to talk about context, but tell me, what context makes chattel slavery okay?
Like seriously, Louise, I think that I have actually come across something like this where it said that it was actually because, black people disobeyed God, like the Israelites disobeyed God or something. Then after that, God was so angry, and he now said that, okay, because of you disobeyed me, you're gonna, like, some strangers will just come, take over your land, your wife, your children, and you are going to be enslaved and all of that. Like, I saw something like that during the course of my research of, slavery and all of that. Then another thing I want to chip in is the fact that so many people, or especially pan-colored people, are using the fact that there is where in the Bible that slaves was mentioned, and how you're gonna obey your masters, how you're gonna serve your masters in a particular time, and after which you'll be freed and all of that. But these people, in the other hand, decided to do what they call chattel. Like, they decided to own people. Like, it wasn't even said in the Bible that these people are gonna be property, like you're gonna own them like property, but they ended up owning people like property, like purchasing them like property. If they are gone, their children will continue owning these people. And when these slaves end up giving birth to kids and all of that, these kids that they actually gave birth to is automatically owned by their slave owners. Like this, it was as bad as this. Another thing is that these pan-colored people decided that they were going to use the verses they saw in the Bible to actually justify whatsoever they were doing to the slaves. Then they went ahead to tell them and show them the verses in the Bible where it was actually the God's will for them to be enslaved and treated the same way they were treated. They even went ahead to actually create what is called slave Bible. Like, this Bible just justified the fact that, okay, it is just the God's will that you should be enslaved. It is what is written in the Bible. But my own question is that if it is really what is written in the Bible and all of that, was it mentioned in the Bible that this particular race of people are the kind of people to be enslaved? This is just one thing that, because when these people begin to argue and all of that, I was like, okay, if it's what is written in the Bible and all of that, was it mentioned anywhere in the Bible that, okay, black people should be the one to be enslaved? Why was it not mentioned that, okay, black people should be the one to be enslaved? So all of these things is just something that is, if you're superior, like you find yourself in a certain position and you decided that, okay, let's come together, form a team, then go down there and enslave a particular group of people, then we can actually use a Bible, because we can, freely deceive these people. We can use a Bible to justify what they actually did, and it's still working for them up to date. There's a video I actually came across where a pan-colored preacher, he was like that, slavery was a good thing, that without slavery, that black people might still be somewhere down in Africa still worshiping their voodoo and all of that. Now, black people should actually be thankful that pan-colored people enslaved them and also brought Christianity to them, and at least they actually made them to know who the Most High is. Like, can you see how they are trying to twist all of this? That trying to make it look as if that, okay, if not because of what they actually did, nothing like Christianity will actually be a thing with black people, without them even knowing that these people that you think that, okay, they worship voodoo and all of that, are actually the real, the people that was talked about in the Bible. Like, seriously, they were the ones that was talked about in the Bible. Their history is all about people in the Bible. You people have the descendant of these Neanderthals and all of that. Until Putin opened its view, like its fault, a lot of revolutions, came to place. Even if so many people know about the historical fact behind black people and black Jesus and all of that. Anyways, lovelies, why not just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever. We're just here for educational and informative purposes. So please, subscribe to this channel if you're yet to do that. Like this video, share, leave your thought in the comment section, and I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one. What up to this extent, thank you so much for all the love and support. Why not just leave me your own thoughts in the comment section of what you think of this video. And do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying, harassment, or whatsoever. We're just here for educational purposes. So please, share this video, subscribe to this channel if you're yet to do that. And I will see you lovelies when I upload the next one.